press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello my dear students, welcome to your social class. So we had started with a new chapter that is related to globalization, right? Yes. So we have already discussed what is globalization, what is trade, how trade started, how it has attracted, or say the trade, the foreign trade has been attracted here. What is the necessity of foreign investment, right? So today let us know the things further now. Okay, so we have discussed, yesterday we did discuss, or say the previous class we did discuss about like WTO, right, how WTO is working. So now you have understood the importance of WTO. See, without WTO definitely there would not be any disputes that would get settled. As because of the WTO we could settle, now we are able to settle the disputes. So the main aim itself is fair and free trade. Okay, so the trade should be very fair in nature, nothing but there should not be any restrictions, barriers, okay, like restrictions or say barriers by any of the country. So there should be fair, okay, something that is justifiable in nature. So that kind of trade is expected. So fair and free trade, okay, free trade is nothing but free trade is nothing but when it comes to free trade, it has to be without any restrictions. So fair and free trade is the main objective of WTO. So we did discuss about these things and we understood how MNCs are playing its role, right? We understood how MNCs are playing its role in the nation. Today let us know further thing, that is debate on trade practices. See, something called trade practice is very much necessary. Okay, so when I said yesterday we did come across something called as trade policies, right? So the trade policies are given by WTO. Okay, so when it has been given, okay, WTO has given this particular trade policies, each and every nation whosoever is getting into the trade, okay, they have to follow those policies, strictly they have to follow. And there are certain trade practices which are banned, okay, that is banned actually. Unfair trade practice what we call, for example giving subsidies, okay, so or say like dumping, so all those things are totally banned. Or even there are certain unfair practices, unfair trade practices which are, which is used just to make low cost production, okay, low cost production on a product and making giving very low cost for the, or say low wages for the workers, or even there would be cut off and all. So these things are very like unfair trade practices which should not be accepted. Okay, so when it comes to trade practices, very first thing what WTO had decided that no government should support the domestic companies by giving any of the say those who are exporting, those companies or those industries wherein they are busy with exporting works, okay, or those who are engaged in exporting, they should never be given any of the subsidies. What happens once you are giving the subsidies and all, what happens? Subsidies in the like government amount, okay, like government is giving certain amount to the companies or say industries. So what happens when they receive all those things, they may misuse it. Okay, probably they may not sell in, when it comes to the domestic companies, they may not sell in the manner it is required. Okay, that would be unfair trade practice. So here also when it comes to US, see what they had said, as you know very well, agricultural sector, we have already discussed about sectors of Indian economy, right? So as you all know, agricultural sector is growing like anything, it was having much more importance and even employment was more there. So here which would this particular sector was increasing, okay, the GDP of the nation. So it was giving more for the economy, right, because more and more people started engaging in the high yielding activities, modern techniques were used for farming and all. So most of the employment could be seen in this particular agricultural sector. So here also same thing, compare like when it comes to developed countries such as US is a developed nation, right? So with the share of agriculture in GDP at 1% and its share in total employment is at 0.5%. Yet this is a very small percentage of people who are engaged in agriculture in US. So 1%, they are just giving an example. If 1% is the like agriculture GDP wherein it is amounting, 0.5% is the employment rate there, okay, for the GDP. Sorry, for when it comes to the employment in this agricultural sector, it is 0.5%. So now US has or say people who are engaged in agriculture in US, they have been receiving a sum of money. As I told you, government is giving money. So is this correct? To what extent it is correct? Actually, earlier days what these people used to do to make these people get engaged with export activities, or say to get more and more income to the nation, government used to give a certain sum of money. That was actually removed, okay, because WTO did do the same thing to ask each and every nation to stop giving subsidies. If you are giving subsidies, then definitely the other nation whosoever is importing, if they get to know that they have given subsidies, that's the reason they are exporting, then the importing the country will have all the rights to put countervailing duties on such products. So because why this was happening was, this if at all government is concentrating upon one particular thing, one particular industry, okay. Imagine now there is something called as XYZ industry, wherein it is receiving some help from the government and it is having prosperity. How about ABC industry, which is striving very hard, which is not getting any support from the government? So this would be the difference, right? It would really affect the domestic market. So that's the reason that was totally asked to be stopped. But here what happened? The US government, okay, so they started giving sum of money from the US government for the people whosoever engaged in the agricultural activity for production and for exports to other countries. Why they used to give money, or say why they used to give this subsidies? So it is like in the name of subsidies itself, these people, the government used to give money, which is actually not acceptable in nature. So now when this was happening in US, what these people used to do, the people who used to engage in agricultural activities, what they started doing, due to this massive money whatever they used to receive, US farmers, okay, they started selling the farm products. Now they are receiving money, however they are getting income. Why they have to bother? So what they started doing, they started selling it at very low price. So the surplus from products are sold in other country markets at lower prices, adversely affecting farmers in these countries. So imagine what now I'm giving you a very small example. Okay, in Karnataka, some product, okay, any product you take, any of the product, any of X product, you are getting it at 200 rupees. But in Mumbai, you get it at 20 or say 30 rupees. I am just giving you an example, that huge difference will not be there. Just imagine you are getting it at somewhere around 20 to 30 rupees. So what would you do? You would try to buy it from Mumbai, right? Yes or no? Because here you have to spend 200. Maybe there 30 rupees I have to spend, and shipping maybe like somewhere around 50 rupees. So within 100 like it would get over, right? So I would think in this manner, and I may purchase it from Mumbai, right? So this is just an example wherein I am giving. Imagine if this would happen with countries. Now our country is giving, suppose, okay, suppose there is a company called A, okay, there is a company called A. Government is giving all the support to A. It is giving money, saying that you produce goods and you sell it, okay, I'll be giving you money and all. Now if these things are happening, what would A feel? A would feel that okay, however I am getting money, why should I worry? So what it starts doing, it would export to different countries at low price. So now the countries to whom it is selling, okay, the countries to whom it is selling at a lower price, the people, okay, some X product is being sold by this A company, okay. Now country, okay, M, N and P, okay, these are the three nations wherein this X product is being brought, okay, they are buying this X product. Now the X product is again produced in M and P countries. But as they are receiving X product from A country at a lower price, what they would do? They would prefer this itself, or probably any industries for whom X is a raw material, they would purchase that particular X as a raw material from nation A itself. They would not prefer their nation, because however they are getting that raw material at a lower price, right? So this was happening. So this actually is called as dumping. So what happens here? People would leave their nation's raw materials. So obviously now the industries in M, N or say P, okay, those industries whosoever is to purchase X as a product even from their nation, or sometimes they would import. Now they just start importing everything because they are getting it at a low price, because A nation is getting money from the government, so they are selling the products at very less price. So this would affect the domestic market. So this is the main thing here. Now the developed countries should not do this. Developing countries at some extent they can do it, because they have to develop the nation, right? In the name of developing, they have to do all these things, and that is allowed actually. But nowadays WTO, as the WTO has taken up all the trade policies, and they are making all the trade policies and all, they have strictly stopped all these activities. They have strictly said that no, you cannot do all this, you cannot carry out all these activities, because it is adversely affecting the domestic market. So now the domestic farmers would definitely they would face problem there, right? So that's the reason that should not be done. So this is the argument asking for whether this is a fair trade here, when US is giving like amount to its farmers, okay, for carrying out all this farming activities. So when US government is giving, is this correct? To what extent it is correct? Whether this is fair in nature? Definitely not. It is not at all fair because of this thing. Because the domestic companies or say industries would face all the problem there. That's the reason doing all these kind of activities is strictly prohibited, and WTO is against all such activities. Now today let us know about the impact of globalization in India. Whether globalization is a boon or say bane for India, whether that has helped India to gain more and more income, whether that has increased the economy or whether it has been neutral, let us know about that thing. So when it comes to impact of globalization, what they are telling here, globalization of Indian economy has come from a long way, obviously, because see, as and when this globalization came into existence, we too started accepting it, right, adopting it, because even we want our nation to be recognized, right, and even to have competition with foreign nation to meet the international standard, to compete with those people, to get into international market. That is a kind of pride, right? So that's the reason this globalization has played an important role here. So globalization and greater competition among producers, both local and foreign producers, has been advantage to consumers. So see, when see all the advantages comes to the consumer itself. Whether it is through globalization or through domestic market does not matter. It is all about the consumer. So when it comes to globalization and greater competition, okay, so greater competition among the producers. So see what consumers want, how the consumers' needs has to be satisfied, how we have to reach the consumers, that has to be known, right? We have to know it. And when we feel that yes, we have to reach our consumers, what they do, definitely they would be having this good production here. So all the producers, it may be at the domestic level or maybe the foreign people, okay, foreign level, does not matter. Because of the globalization, there is a great competition to satisfy the consumers. So there is a great choice before these consumers who now enjoy improved quality and lower prices. See, improved quality, because they have to meet the international standard. So you have to meet the international standard, you will be getting the quality goods there. So globalization has helped the consumers to get quality goods. Not only that, even they have got many choices. Earlier hardly they used to get anything to choose there. Now they have got many things to choose, and yes, definitely it would be like that too at a lower price. So at a lower price they are earning. So they are getting great products. So these people today enjoy much high standard of living than that was possible earlier. Why? How can you say that it is increasing the standard of living? What is standard of living? Nothing but the living style changes, the lifestyle changes, right? Compared to Davangere, you have high standard of living in Bangalore, right? So the standard of living, the lifestyle, okay, the luxurious style or even the basic style also changes, right? So the standard of living is also increasing here because people are getting more things to choose. People are engaging themselves into industries, business, etc., wherein they are planning how to reach the international market, how to compete with the international market, how to give a tough competition to the business, same business, okay. So that is how they are planning, and they have started to earn more. So that's the reason even their standard of living also has increased here. So that is again an impact, okay, wherein globalization has helped India. So now let us know about how it has been, but yes, when it comes to globalization, it is not uniform in nature, okay. A few states it has truly helped, because see, now Bangalore is improving, right, with the total urbanization, it may be roads or anything, like it is improving, right. So now as there are MNCs, more and more MNCs, more investment is going on, so that's the reason you can find the improvement. How about other places? It is not, right. So it is not uniform in nature, okay. Globalization is like it has not been, the impact has not been uniform in nature. So when it comes to globalization, MNCs have increased their investment. So as I told you, MNCs has increased, and MNCs they choose their place checking, see how, see even during manufacturing industries, I had told you the same thing, right. Industries, how do they choose their place, their location? They will choose on the basis of the labor, right, on the basis of the raw materials, like everything they have to think. The cost of production should be low, so keeping that thing in mind, they choose their location, right. In the same way, MNCs also do the same thing, wherein they have to get low cost, the things at low cost, including the labor. So whenever they feel that okay, skilled or unskilled laborers they can get at a cheaper rate, definitely what they do, they would come there, they would settle there, or say they would start or come up with MNCs in that particular area. So the past 20 years it has been investing in India and has been beneficial for them. No doubt MNCs are earning good, okay, they are making profit, making India also see, however they have to pay taxes and all, right. So yes, even it is adding to the economy. So it may be anything, It may be anything, such as examples are phones, automobiles, or probably even electronics, soft drinks, or fast food, and say services such as banking, etc. So these products have a large number of well-off buyers. No doubt, every person needs these things. So every person is rushing towards these things, right? Yes. So because of which those people are making profit. So apart from this, jobs, okay, which is very much important, employment. Globalization is helping us create new jobs. It is helping us to secure, to some extent security is good, okay, to some extent, okay, I am not telling that yes, it is a secured job, no, but yes, to some extent security is good, okay. So MNCs have helped us to get good jobs. So people are rushing, right? Once you finish your BCom, MCom, or say even engineering and all, people rush towards these MNCs, right? I got into this company, I got into that company. So that is how they proudly say. So this is how they are earning. So that is how they are creating the job, and how this globalization is throwing an impact here. So next is, even local companies are engaging themselves to supply raw materials, and these industries have prospered. So all these small industries, whosoever is not getting good production and all, what they are doing, they are engaging themselves to sell all the raw materials to the big industries. Again, that is another activity that is been going on. So next is, second thing is, several of the top Indian companies have been able to benefit from the increased competition. See, as and when the competition, there is a huge competition. See, meeting Indian standard or say international standard, it is two different things, right? So when people are ready to compete, okay, when people are engaging themselves to give a tough competition, because of the tough competition, more and more income is coming in India, nothing but there is an inflow of amount. So now that is also like kind of it is because of globalization this is happening. So some have gained from successful collaboration with foreign companies. See, as and when the globalization has increased, even the companies are merging, okay, merge of companies. Nothing but two companies coming together and forming one particular company, or few of them have joined hands for one particular work, joint venture what we call, okay, new things they are trying, okay, being in a joint venture, like two companies coming together for a particular work, or say just for a particular thing or product, okay, it depends. Now imagine if at all I have one company, Yogita has got one company. Now I go and approach Yogita. Yogita, you have a good marketing system in your company. So I have a good production like house in my company. So let's go with some new product. Let me produce, you market it, and let us share the profit, or something like this we would discuss, and we may come to a conclusion. So that is again a new venture, nothing but I will be giving some new product, or probably we both engage to give one new product, and other activities sharing the work here, division of work. So that is again a thing that has happened because of globalization. Collaborations, companies are getting collaborated, either it may be through like merging, takeover, or anything that is. But yes, they are engaging. See, yesterday I did discuss, right, in the previous class we came across Cargill. Cargill came up, right, so it did like engage with other companies, and now it has got all the oil refineries there, right. So that is another thing. So globalization has enabled some large Indian companies to emerge as multinational themselves, like Tata Motors, okay, they have become a multinational companies, nothing but not only in India, they are having branches in different countries. So globalization has helped not only welcome MNCs in India, but make Indian companies or domestic companies to become MNC in nothing but different. It has branches, to create branches in different nation. Even that is possible only because of globalization. So when it comes to this, even there is like Infosys, Ranbaxy, Asian Paints, Sundaram Fasteners. Okay, so these are the few companies wherein they have operation worldwide. So not only in India, no doubt it is registered, or say it is having its base in India itself, but it has spread over all other countries. So this is possible only because of globalization. We are welcoming other companies, other companies, other countries' companies. Ford, right? Ford is US based. So we have welcomed it to India, right? So in such manner, there are so many other companies which has come here. Earlier it was Chevrolet, right? General Motors, now it has been taken by TCS, right? So like there are many such companies which has been welcome as a MNC, and now our companies, our domestic companies are going, they are expanding their production, or say they are getting collaborated with different companies here. Okay, so that is how the things are working because of globalization. So it has created new opportunities for companies. Okay, so globalization has created new opportunities for companies providing services, particularly those involving ITs. So besides a host of services such as data entry, or say accounting, administrative and engineering, it has like some other it has, such as India, and are exported to the developed nations, or say developed countries. See, because of the technology, it may be in the name of technology, or it may be in the name of data entry or accounting or administration, whatever it is. What has happened? MNCs are increasing because of the globalization. So globalization has helped all the companies to have its branches in different nations. So whether foreign investment is a attractive one, okay, whether it is good or say bad. Say no investment is bad, we cannot consider it as such. So see, in recent years, the central and the state government of India are taking special steps. See, when it comes to the controlling of the MNCs and all, it is not in the hands of like a particular company or say particular thing. But yes, we have company law to regulate the companies, okay, because whatsoever companies are coming into existence, those should be under control, right? It has to be under control. If not, then definitely it would be very difficult. So to make it to easier one, these things are very much necessary, nothing but laws and rules. So company law, labor law have come into existence. Now when it comes to this, central and state government, they have taken steps. Okay, yesterday or day before yesterday, maybe like in the previous class, we have already discussed about FDI, right? Foreign direct investment. So there is something called as automatic route and approval route, right? So automatic is something wherein we can directly invest, but when it comes to approval, you have to take the permission from like RBI and also those small things, right? These are very small things. In the same way, in relation to the companies also, laws and rules they have done. See, now what these people have done, they have created something called SEZ. Okay, so they have created something called SEZ. The central and the state government are working for it. What it is called as SEZ, it is nothing but special economic zones. Okay, so they are being set up. So SEZ to have world class facilities, nothing but electricity facility, water, roads, transport, storage, recreational and educational activities. Companies who set up production units in SEZs do not have to pay taxes. So government has also allowed flexibility in the labor laws to attract foreign investment, just to attract. See, as I told you, there is labor law and there is company law to control or regulate these companies or say industries. So when it comes to this, okay, they have made it flexible. Okay, they have brought changes in the labor law so that the investment could be made very easily, or say there should be flexibility in the investment. That's the reason they have brought, though they have got this particular thing, okay, now they have made it flexible in nature. So instead of hiring, see what has happened, like government is ignoring actually few of the laws here. So like we have to protect the workers, but in relation to this, that is not happening, okay. So now instead of hiring workers on a regular basis, companies are hiring workers on the flexibility, which is again allowed. As I told you, liberalization yesterday, wherein government is not ready to poke its nose. So what has happened is, companies or say industries, they are hiring people on the basis of like part time, or say only for the sake of a particular work, okay. So government, the contract for service, okay, for a particular service they are being hired. So that is again making them not to have a secured job there. So now whether investment is a good thing, whether like foreign investment is easy, definitely foreign investment is very easy, because if these things are happening, imagine as there is a low cost on production, because we are hiring people on the basis of contract for service, nothing but for a particular service that particular person is hired, right. So when these are happening, definitely you will be spending less on those things, right. So what happens, the labor cost will be reduced, increasing the profit there, so increasing the profit of the company. So definitely it would be flexible, right. So it is possible only because there is a flexibility in labor law. So labor law is not strict in our nation, that's the reason like it has become more flexible and people are enjoying that particular thing here. So now most of the foreign investors, they are ready to invest in a different nation because there is flexibility in the laws and say rules. Okay, now when I said competition is increasing, okay, no doubt, concentrate on competition, uncertain employment, I will tell you about it. So when it comes to the competition, because of the huge competition, what is happening is people are like facing certain problems sometimes. Now let me tell you Ravi's story here. Okay, Ravi had a company, okay, he did not expect that he would have to face such a crisis here, no doubt. So what he had done, he had taken loan from bank to start a company, or say some industrial industry in his own town, that is Tamil Nadu in Hosur, okay. So he used to produce this or manufacture the capacitors, wherein it included these were used, okay, capacitors are used in many electronic home appliances including tube lights or television, etc. So what happened, as he had started this particular industry wherein he used to produce these capacitors, he started earning huge profit. Because of that, he had to expand his industry, wherein he had some 20 to 30 employees working for him, okay. So he was an employer and he had employees who used to work for him. So his struggle to run his company started when the government removed restrictions on imports of capacitors. See, earlier there were restrictions on importing the capacitors from different nation. What government? See, government sometimes they bring the rule saying that you have to purchase Swadeshi, if they say you have to purchase all the goods from within the boundary itself, you cannot import. Imagine if these kind of rules are happening or they put up those rules, so what happens, you have to purchase Swadeshi itself, right. You have to purchase goods belonging to our country itself, our country brand itself we have to use, we cannot go with other brands. So this was earlier, the restriction was there, okay, you cannot import capacitors, earlier it was there. But what happened during 2001, this was removed because WTO had set free trade. Because of the free trade, that restriction was removed. Now what happened, all the people whosoever used to produce these appliances, okay, electronic appliances, they used to depend on Ravi, because Ravi used to get the capacitors. Okay, he used to produce the, manufacture the capacitor. So what used to happen, all those people who used to get the electronic materials used to depend upon Ravi. But as the restriction was removed, okay, government has removed the restriction, what happened? People started importing at a lower price. Imagine if capacitors, okay, like somewhere around 500 rupees if he would sell, importing would cost them less, and people started purchasing it from, or say they started importing. Now all the competition from the MNC brands forced the Indian television companies to move into assembling activities for MNCs. So when some of them bought capacitors, they would prefer to import as the price of the imported item was less. So imagine the same thing here. And not like government is giving money, no doubt, but here what happened, importing those things was quite very easy than depending upon Ravi's production, like Ravi whatever he used to get the products. So now what happened, Ravi started facing problem. So there, like most of his friends who had already had these kind of industries, they had closed. Because of this itself they had closed, because they never got any of the expected amount, or say they never received any of the expected, like whatever they had an expectation, saying that okay, they may receive, they may make such a profit there. So that was not reached. So now they felt that okay, however they are not getting the amount whatever they are planning for, so it's better we would shut down. So most of the people, they did shut down their companies. Even Ravi had faced the same problem, wherein hardly any workers left out with him. Hardly some 5 to 7 members were working for him, rest others left, because he was unable to pay them. And he never, see now when a product is easily available from different nation at a lower cost, why would these people, the one who is working here using some product from some raw material from the nation itself, now if at all they are receiving it at a lower cost, they would import it, right? The same thing happened here, and he started facing problem. So that's the reason. See now MNCs are doing this. If at all MNC would not force any of the television companies, saying that no, you cannot buy anything from Ravi, you import it. If they would not give these ideas, then definitely those television companies, or say any other home appliances companies, they would depend still on Ravi, right, to get the capacitor. But as they started, because of the globalization, they started receiving it from different nation at a lower price. So don't you think again this is another problem here? Definitely it is a problem, right? Because domestic industries are facing problem, and what our government has to think about? Definitely the domestic companies. So we have to save our domestic companies. So this is another, like this was the problem here. Now we are taking a few things as a like on the negative side of the globalization. Okay. So the next one is uncertainty of the employment. See, just now I told you while speaking about MNC, okay, while talking about MNC, I told you it was contract for service, right? For a particular work, people used to get into services, right? For a particular work, for a certain skill, only for certain skills, those people used to get engaged. See, globalization and the pressure of competition have substantially changed the lives of workers. So they face with growing competition, most employers these days prefer to employ workers flexibly. So however they want flexibility, on the basis of flexibility, they are hiring people here. So jobs are not secured here. So they are not having any secured job. Imagine if you do not have any secured job, will that be possible for you to have like a good life? Definitely not. You would be always worrying. You never know. See, do you remember the sectors? We had discussed about those things, right? Unorganized sector and organized sector, how the things changes. Organized sectors, you will be having everything as organized, right? Unorganized sectors, you never know when you will be removed from that particular work. So most of the people now also they are depending upon unorganized sectors. No doubt now on unorganized sectors also have got laws and rules now. Now they have come up, no doubt. But even then, earlier days this was very difficult. Here also same thing has happened. So large MNCs in the garment industries in Europe and America, they ordered their products from Indian exporters. So what these people would do, Europe and American people, they would order, okay, they would place order from Indian garments. Now these large MNCs with the worldwide network look for the cheapest goods, right? They see every person wants goods at the cheapest cost so that they can earn more profit. They can earn more profit. Production cost should be less. Something when you are producing, it should be less. But whenever you are selling, you should sell it at a higher price so that your profit would be more. So that would be the thing. Each and every businessman, each and every company would plan for that itself. Okay, here also same thing is happening. So what happened? Indian garment exporters try hard to cut their own cost. How do they cut their own cost? By giving less amount to the laborers. Nothing but they cut the labor cost. So to what extent this is correct then? Is it right here? Definitely not, right? Because say when it comes to uncertainty of employment, so people will be having uncertainty, like they will not know when they will be removed and when they will get work. So this uncertainty would make them feel that okay, we would stay unemployed itself. So now earlier factory used to employ workers on a permanent basis. Earlier this was there. So they would hire people for a permanent, on the basis of permanent as a permanent worker they would hire. But nowadays what they are doing is on the basis of temporary basis. Temporary for a particular work, for a particular time, for a particular period of time, for a particular skill. Probably they are doing the same thing. They are hiring people only for a particular work, particular skill or something like this. So that was a uncertainty. They cause uncertainty of employment. So this competition among the garment exporters has allowed the MNCs to make large profits. No doubt MNCs are making profit, but is it profitable to the nation? Is it is it giving something to the people who have been working there? Definitely not, right? So again you see there is someone called Sushila. Okay, she is 35 years old and she has spent many years as a worker in a garment, okay, for an export industry of Delhi. She was employed as a permanent permanent worker earlier, entitled, or say her designation was a health insurance, for entitled to nothing but she used to carry out this health insurance, or say she was entitled to health insurance. She would get all these facilities. As she was a permanent person working there, she was entitled to health insurance. She was even getting provident fund, okay, and overtime, if she was working overtime, she would get double the salary, or say the wage. Now after searching for a job for 6 months, all of a sudden what happened? This factory was closed because of MNCs, because of the tough competition wherein they could not withstand, like Ravi's story. Hope you remember Ravi's story, right? Ravi had to close it because capacitors, people started purchasing it, or say they started importing it at a lower price because WTO has set free trade, and this made Ravi to close his or shut down his office, or say company. Yes. So when this was happening, okay, maybe he did struggle, maybe definitely he would struggle to withstand that, that is a different scenario. But here Sushila, she was working as a permanent person there. But all of a sudden the factory got closed. Now she had to find a job, right? She searched for a job and she finally got a job. That too, like she got a job 30 kilometers away from her house. Very far, 30 kilometers away. Even after working in the factory for several years, she was considered to be temporary worker. Even nowadays the same thing is happening. People do come from far away places, but again still they will be working as a temporary person itself. They would not get any job as a permanent or say full time or whatever it is. Okay, that is getting these kind of job is difficult these days. Okay, so only if at all like reservations and all are done, then definitely that is different, because people like a reservation, out of reservation they will get it. But every person, okay, every person cannot get it because of these MNCs or the rules and regulations that has been done. So here also same thing. So she had to like travel 30 kilometers away. That too she had to work from 7:30 AM to 10 PM. There is no certainty of time. See, so how uncertain employment, right? She doesn't know whether her job is permanent, whether she'll be getting the provident fund, is she entitled to some other health insurance and all, whether she doesn't even know about it. Or probably that is not at all provided because she is not being treated as a permanent employee. So she is not at all being treated as a permanent employee here. So that's the reason the employers never do think about these things. They treat employee as though like however they are coming, however they will be coming. So this is the mindset that has come. So there is again, she has to work for an unorganized sector. She is working for an unorganized sectors wherein there is no particular time, there is fluctuating wages. Okay, the orders are fluctuating, factory is closer to her home, she does not get the job there. Okay, every time she goes there, she may not like get the job. It is for a particular period of time. The 1 month, for a month she may work and next month she does not get any work there. So there is no permanency anywhere. So because of these things, she had to work for that particular factory which was away from her house, and almost from 7:30 to 10 she had to work. Okay, and a day off, if she would take a day leave, definitely she would not get any of the wages paid. So these were the problems. So in the name of competition, so sometimes it goes very difficult to compete with the foreign countries. It goes very difficult to withstand these MNCs. So that is one problem. The second problem is the uncertainty. Nothing but the employment, whatever they get is uncertain in nature. They do not know when they will be removed. They do not know whether that is all like totally organized. It is not at all like they have never mentioned whether that is organized. It is not at all organized one. So the condition of work, the work condition is also not good. Imagine right from morning till evening you have to work, until night actually. So how is that possible, right? So uncertainty of work and hardships of workers described above have become common to many industrial units and services in India. Most workers today are employed in the unorganized sector. So as I have told you many a times, even while dealing with sectors, I have told you the same thing, that most of the people, they are working for unorganized sectors wherein the timing or say the wage, it is not like a fixed one. So it keeps fluctuating. So increasingly condition of work in the organized sector have come to resemble the unorganized sectors, and workers in organized sectors such as Sushila no longer get the protection and benefits that they enjoyed earlier. So whatever Sushila had enjoyed earlier as being a permanent factory worker, okay, she got her provident fund, she even had health insurance and all, right? So that was a good thing for her. But now she did not receive, like she did not get anything. So that's the reason it is uncertain employment. So wherein the employment is uncertain, she doesn't even know when she'll be removed. So most of the people will be having this fear when it comes to unorganized sector. Understood, dear students? So this is the like what I can say, the impact, like adverse impact, okay, of globalization. Understood? So the next one is struggle for fair globalization. So can we get a fair globalization? So now as we did discuss about Sushila's story or say Ravi's story, these are indicating that not everyone has got benefits out of globalization. No doubt many of the people are enjoying globalization. Okay, most of the people, they are enjoying globalization, but people like Sushila, Ravi, even they are facing much more problems. So it is like globalization is both a boon and a bane. Understood? It is both advantageous and it is disadvantageous. So advantageous for few people, disadvantageous to some. So that is how it has been said. So people with education skills and wealth have made the best use of new opportunities. So see, the one who is educated, okay, the one who knows or who has got skills and who can make use of the opportunity in a right manner, definitely for them globalization has become a boon. And the one who is uneducated, who doesn't know how to make use of the opportunity, for them it has become a bane. So opportunities, see, when it comes to fair, like whether globalization, can that be called as a fair globalization? Fair globalization would create opportunities for all and also ensure that the benefits of globalization are shared better. So if at all globalization is fair in nature, definitely it would create a good kind of, or say it would create a definitely it would create opportunities for all. See, now when I said it is boon, both a boon and a bane. When it is a boon, if at all it is helping people. Now people like Sushila, Ravi, they are facing problems. So whether that can be a boon? No, right? So now globalization, what I can say is, if at all, if you want to call something as a fair globalization, then definitely it should create opportunities for all. That too in a good manner. So ensuring the benefit, it should be beneficial to each and every person. So the government can play a major role here. Okay, when it comes to globalization, definitely government can play a very good or say it can play a major role. Its policies must protect the interest not only of the rich but even of the powerful, but all the people in the country. So when I said labor law and company law has become flexible in nature, right? If at all the law of a nation, okay, no doubt, like few of the laws when it comes to related to companies or say industries, it is labor law and company law. If those are made very strict, okay, if those laws are very strict, definitely we can control this, or say now globalization can be made a boon for each and everybody. So it is the government. Okay, it is the government which can play a major role here to make globalization work very well, or it can be made a boon to each and every person, creating, or you see, it is not only the rich or the powerful whose interest has to be secured, but the government has to think, or government has to even concentrate upon the poor people or even other people whose interest has to be secured here. So government has to play very important role to make globalization, to create opportunity for each and every person. It should not be only the rich or powerful, it even should concentrate to hold or say create their interest should be the poor people or even other people whosoever is having interest or whosoever wants to make use of the opportunity in a better manner. For them also it should be a boon here. So labor laws are it has to be properly implemented, and even the workers their rights has to be protected. So it can support even small producers to improve their performance till the time they become strong enough to compete. So nothing but like giving subsidy or probably providing certain things which are very much necessary for the small producers. Okay, so if this facility is given, then definitely even the small producers can shine. Okay, so these are the few things. Not only that, even the rights of the workers has to be protected, like Sushila and all, their rights has to be protected, right? If not, these MNCs or say these competitors, they cannot compete, right? Like a few of the small industries, they cannot give tough competition there. So that's the reason it goes very difficult, okay, to withstand those competition. So government has to concentrate upon all these things. So the countries with the similar interests, like they have to domination of developed countries in the WTO. So WTO has to play its role here. So like like WTO has to make fairer rules. Okay, something that is fair in nature. Okay, something that is fair in nature. So fair globalization, if you want to have, definitely government has to work and even WTO has to work there. So in the past few years, massive campaigns and representation by people's organization have influenced important decisions relating to trade and investments at the WTO. So this has demonstrated that people can also play an important role in the struggle for globalization. So if at all government can play a major role, even people can do it, because there are many campaigns and all that has been conducted so that WTO gets the message saying that globalization is not only concentrating upon the rich and the poor, rich and powerful. Okay, it is not concentrating upon, yes, like it is not at all concentrating upon the poor here. Poor is left out people. Okay, poor are left out people here, so which is going difficult. They are concentrating upon rich and powerful people. So this has to be known. The WTO has to know about this thing, that yes, we have to make a globalization a fairer one. Like how it has to work, there has to be fair trade, everything fair, fair rules and regulations, so that no poor person faces any problem here. So with this, dear students, we have finished your chapter, that is globalization and the Indian economy. So now you have understood how globalization has become both a boon and the bane. See, there are industries like Tata, Infosys and all, wherein now because of globalization they are expanding. But there are few people like Ravi and Sushila who are facing problem. Right? So now you have understood, I hope, like how globalization has been both a boon and a bane. So with this we come to an end with your chapter, that is globalization and the Indian economy. Dear students, if you have any doubts, please let me know, because this is a chapter wherein each and every line is equally important. So that's the reason I did read it and I have explained it to you people, whichever line was important. But let me tell you once again, please go through the textbook, please read it once again, okay, and keep this like watching the video, so that you can understand it in a perfect manner. And if at all you have felt somewhere that it is confusing or something is left out, or you have any doubts, you can approach me at any time. Okay, thank you so much, dear students, for your patience. And yes, so see, it is totally the commerce thing. Okay, like commercial, all these things, it is commerce. So like if you have any doubts at any point, please do feel free to ask me. Okay, thank you so much, dear students. Enjoy your day.